Could this Christmas be your last Christmas? If you knew for certain that next Christmas you would be dead, would you still be petty for this Christmas? Every year you lose a Christmas. In a given lifetime, you will likely get 70 Christmases. By that number, I have a tad bit over 20 Christmases left. The reality is time is always running out, and no one, and I mean no one, is getting more time. The clock is ticking. The stopwatch was set the moment you were born, and it doesn't matter if you're a felon or not. I say that because I am a felon, and I lost 8 or 9 Christmases in prison. I robbed my parents of the anticipated time they would get with me for Christmas by committing crime. My mother had to celebrate Christmases with me being incarcerated, and in retrospect, that breaks my heart. My mother loved Christmas, and she wasn't one of those blessed people who get about 72 Christmases in a lifetime because she died before her time. And we never could have known that the last Christmas we celebrated together would be her last. You know, last night I was washing dishes and I began to weep as I thought of my mother. I wanted to say some more things to her. I wanted to tell her I was sorry for some of the things that I remembered. It's funny now how I cherish some of the things I still have that were gifts from her during Christmases of past. You know, those gifts that I never really wanted or even liked, but she gave to me anyway? Yeah, somehow those things are now very important to me. I know it's not the item itself, but the memory that is attached to it. My mother absolutely loved Christmas. She would decorate and plan these beautiful Christmases in her mind. I know that things didn't always go as she had planned because life is a mess and we all bring our own world of problems into the mix during Christmas. But even in the chaos, a memory is born. Not the bad ones, but the good ones, where we laughed and smiled together. You know, my brother died shortly after my mother, and then my father, all within a period of about 4 years. I would love to have one last Christmas with them, but that time has already come and gone. I realize that we just had a presidential election, and all over the internet, people are distancing themselves from one another over political ideologies. Please don't be petty. Do you really think either political party's leaders even care about you or your family? They don't know who we even are, nor do they likely care. Don't fight over politics for Christmas. Just for Christmas, at least give yourself some peace and show patience and love towards those in your family. Your mother and father gave you life, and you don't want to dishonor them over political differences. So many people are spending Christmas away from loved ones because of life and circumstances that are outside of their control. Maybe their loved one is incarcerated or in the military, and being together for Christmas is impossible. Take the time to call someone that you won't see this Christmas and tell them you were thinking about them. Whatever you do, please don't let your differences in politics be the reason you don't enjoy Christmas together. Last night I had a dream, and it made me realize that this Christmas is special because I get to be with my wife. We have had almost 20 Christmases together, and even though it may likely be just us celebrating together again this Christmas, we will embrace the moment and each other. We already put out our Christmas tree together. It looks beautiful, of course. We wish that all of our family was together with us. But for some of us, me and my wife included, we see Christmas for what it actually is. For unto us a king was born, and with him redemption and hope. I may have been in prison for so many Christmases, but I never let the thought of Christmas elude me. Even in prison, I embraced Christmas for what it was, and hope prevailed. I recall one year my mother sent me a Christmas card that was a mini Christmas tree. This was my first Christmas in prison. It was 1996, and I taped it to the back of my locker. I remember one of the convicts who was serving a life sentence told me to be careful with how I expressed my joy during Christmas and the holidays because so many people around me were never going home. And that broke my heart. You know, the thought of men without hope, because no matter where we are, Christmas brings hope. It should, as our salvation draws nearer. So please embrace the season and for a moment put your political differences aside and have a hot cup of cocoa together. And if you're lucky enough to have snow around you, have a snowball fight, live and laugh. The politicians will give you more to argue about next year. Until then, Merry Christmas. This Christmas, why not put your political differences aside? It's an unpopular statement that I just said because right now it seems like everybody wants to voice their opinion and there's a whole lot of traction going around, especially coming from the side that lost, the Democrats. There's a lot of videos that individuals took time to post and said that if someone voted different from them, please don't come around for Thanksgiving. Please don't come around for Christmas. Don't come around for New Year's. Give me my space. I don't want to talk to you. And on the other side, that won, the conservatives, there's no reason to rub salt in the wound. There's no reason to boast and brag and pound your chest. 4 years ago, you were on the opposite end and you knew what it was like to lose. So why not this Christmas put our differences aside and come together in unity? After all, that's what Christmas and the holidays are all about. And if we can't put our differences aside for the sake of family and friends, then do we really care about the people we call family and friends? Probably not, right? If you can't put your political ideology aside so you can have a decent dinner on Christmas Day or a decent time with the kids, watching them open presents or simply sip hot chocolate and eggnog, then something's wrong if you as an individual can't put those differences aside for a moment to enjoy the people you have in your life. My mother, my father, and my brother are all gone. They died. They're not with me. And my mother loved Christmas. She did everything she could, even when the family was fractured, to put Christmas together. And she loved to buy gifts. And of course, everybody had different opinions and different thoughts about this topic and that topic. But you know what? We could come together for Christmas on the bayou and have a moment to reflect and laugh and smile together and eat some turkey, some cranberry, some pie, and hey, we was in the bayou, maybe watching unsuspected alligator cruise down the bayou in December. Hey, it happens. Or watch the raccoons eat pie, as my mom gave the raccoons pie on the bayou. And listen, there were even times when I didn't get to spend Christmas with people who I did care about, right? There were times when I didn't get to spend Christmas with my children. Many Christmases, actually most Christmases, I never even see them. You know what I mean? I wish I could. I wish the relationship was better, but it is what it is. But Christmas is still beautiful. And those rare moments where we were together, I took the time to smile, laugh, and joke and let them know that I appreciated that moment that we were together. And if it happens again, I'm going to do the same thing. You can put your differences aside. You can take a moment and humble yourself and forgive the people around you for not being there or for treating you wrongly. Keep in mind that you probably treated somebody wrongly. You probably weren't there for somebody. So before you go cast your stones and tell somebody how bad they were, think about how bad you were. That reflection where you look in the mirror and you say, you know what, I'm not quite so perfect myself. Actually, I'm pretty bad if we're being honest and reflect on it. But we don't have to take the time. Specifically, I'm talking about his political ideology. If you voted for Biden, fine. If you voted for Trump, fine. If you voted independent, fine. Take a moment. And don't be so serious and put that aside. Is it absolutely necessary to speak about those things nonstop? Take time to love your family. I'm saying this because you don't know if your mom's going to be with you tomorrow. You don't know if your brother or sister's going to be there tomorrow. You don't know if you're going to have another opportunity to spend, have a drink with your brother-in-law. Don't put that stuff aside, man. There's so many other things you could talk about, right? Whatever interests you, you could smile. You can give each other a hug. Sit around the campfire. Sit around the fireplace. Watch a ball game. But is it absolutely necessary to argue, fuss, and fight constantly when you still have your loved ones with you? You don't know if they're going to be there next Christmas. This may be your last. Actually, there are people who are watching this right now. This will be the last Christmas that somebody will be alive. They won't be here next Christmas. You might not be here next Christmas. So take the time and put it aside. And you know what? Enjoy the time you have with your husband and your wife. You know what I mean? Your children. and embrace Christmas for what it is. It's a beautiful time of year. For me, it's my favorite time of year. Even when I was in prison, I did my best to say, you know what, Merry Christmas. And in my heart, I rejoiced for Christmas. And I'm going to be doing a video really soon where I talk about how some people play games with God when they're in prison, but I never played games with God. I loved God. I loved Jesus. And I said, you know what? Merry Christmas, God. Thank you for Christmas. Even though I'm in prison, I appreciate the opportunity that one day I'll be free because I didn't have a life sentence. I knew I was getting out and I probably deserved much worse. I was spared and I was appreciative and I recognized that. And I knew eventually I would have another Christmas. And there have been Christmases where I get so caught up in trying to make everything so perfect that I actually miss the time of the season. Don't try to make everything so perfect that you miss the opportunity to enjoy the moment. Take time if you like sipping eggnog and sip eggnog. If you like having gingerbread cookies, eat gingerbread cookies. If you want to take a walk in the park and look at the Christmas lights, do that. Don't let it slip by. Don't get so consumed in the things like politics that it steals the joy of Christmas from you or the joy of the season. Take the time on New Year's and reflect with your family and friends and your loved ones. And especially if you have family and friends, spend time with them. Tell them you love them. Like I said, they might not be here this time next year. It's a special thing to have family. I wish that my mother, with everything in me, I would want them, I hoped, and I would like them to be here this Christmas. I would like to have another Christmas with my mom and my dad. I would like to be able to hang out with my brother. And even like my brother, when my family's gone, then the other parts of my family are fractured as well, right? We don't get together. I wish that was the case, but we don't. And that's just a reality, That's something my mom always told me. My mom always used to say she wished the family would get together more, especially during the holidays, and it wasn't so much, because I come from a family, everybody's pretty much separated. And, I don't think anybody's casting judgment on each other. It's just everybody's doing their own thing. And sometimes that can consume you and life passes you by and there's not going to be another opportunity. This is the opportunity. Today's the opportunity to spend time with your family and put your political differences aside or whatever differences you have and tell your family you love them. And you know what? Here at the Pin and the Shank, we want to say Merry Christmas to you. And we want to say that I hope, because I'm basically the Pin and the Shank. I'm an up and coming YouTube channel. I'm trying to make this thing go. I do want to get monetized. I do want to make this a business and a brand. I'm a year into it. I've only been posting on YouTube for 2 years of my life. I didn't know anything. After spending 6 years in prison, 2 years in prison, a lot of time in prison. I grew up in a time where we didn't have the computer and technology. So I'm trying to learn this thing. And I think I've learned a lot. And I'm appreciative for where I'm at today. I'm appreciative for the growth that I do have. Of course, I wish I was further along, but I'm grateful today. And you know what? I understand and embrace the journey, right? Because this journey is going to lead me to success. And I've learned that it's better not to just get successful all at once because it can destroy you. You got to take your time. There's things you got to learn along the path and the road to success. And I've been successful in a lot of areas. And I believe that I'm appreciative for where God has me today. I've grown and God continues to grow me, but there's still a lot to learn. Give me a like and subscribe to the Pin and the Shank, where we're going to talk about all things crime and prison related in an unusual and unique way. Go check out my other videos. And you know what? Merry Christmas.